When you look up at the night sky on a clear evening, far from the glow of city lights, you might notice a faint, misty patch nestled among the stars in the constellation Andromeda. It doesn't twinkle like the stars, it doesn't burn bright like a planet. To the untrained eye, it looks like a small cloud, barely visible, hovering in the black ocean above. But that dim smudge of light, almost too faint for the naked eye to notice, is not a cloud, it's a galaxy. A colossal, spiraling kingdom of stars known as the Andromeda Galaxy, and here's what makes it awe-inspiring. That tiny, gentle blur, that almost invisible glow, is not small at all. It is one of the largest and most magnificent structures in the local universe, a sprawling, galactic metropolis containing over 1 trillion stars, hundreds of billions of worlds, and possibly countless forms of life scattered among them. The light from that faint blur began its journey toward us nearly 2.5 million years ago, long before the first humans walked the earth, before our ancestors even mastered fire. And yet tonight that light finds your eyes. That glow carries the memory of ancient suns, the heartbeat of a distant world, and the silent testimony of cosmic time itself. We live in a galaxy, the Milky Way, a massive spiral of stars stretching over 100 zero light years across. To us, it feels infinite, but the Andromeda Galaxy is even grander. It's our cosmic neighbor, the closest spiral galaxy to our own, and the largest member of what astronomers call the local group, a small family of galaxies bound together by gravity. For centuries, humans believed Andromeda was just a nebula, a cloudy mass of gas within our own galaxy. It wasn't until the early 20th century that astronomer Edwin Hubble proved it was far beyond the Milky Way, an entirely separate galaxy, millions of light years away. That discovery changed everything. It expanded our view of the universe from a single galaxy to billions. Imagine the shock of that revelation. For all of human history, we thought our Milky Way was the whole cosmos, that the universe ended just beyond our stars. But with one discovery, one telescope observation, the sky grew infinitely larger. We learned that the Andromeda Galaxy is not just a faint speck in our sky, but a vast system of unimaginable scale. Even at the time, scientists estimated its size to be around 100 light years across, similar to the Milky Way. But as our instruments grew more powerful, our measurements more precise, that estimate began to stretch. The more we looked, the bigger Andromeda became. Andromeda is not just a simple spiral galaxy, it is a cosmic titan. With a diameter of around 250 light years, it's more than twice as large as our own. If our eyes could see the galaxy in full, if the night sky revealed it in its true magnitude, it would stretch 6 times wider than the full moon. That means, if it were visible in its entirety, it would dominate the night sky. You wouldn't see it as a blur, but as an enormous, glowing spiral of light and dust spanning a section of the heavens so wide that it would take your breath away. But there's something deeply humbling about how it appears to us now, quiet, modest, almost hidden. It reminds us that greatness does not always demand attention. Sometimes the most powerful forces in existence are the ones that whisper, not roar. Andromeda whispers from across the cosmos, carrying the story of creation, collision, and eternity in a single pale shimmer. Every star in that galaxy, all 1 trillion of them, burns with its own story. Some are young, radiant blue giants shining 1,000 times brighter than our sun. Others are ancient red dwarfs, small and faint, their light flickering weakly after billions of years. There are massive stellar nurseries, vast clouds of hydrogen gas where new suns are born. There are dead stars, white dwarfs and neutron stars, the silent remnants of celestial lives long past. And somewhere, perhaps orbiting one of those countless suns, there could be a world like ours. A planet with oceans, clouds, maybe even eyes that gaze back into the dark and wonder if anyone else is out there. To think that this entire empire of light is contained in that tiny patch of the sky, it almost defies comprehension. Yet it's there, it's always been there, long before we existed to notice it. The ancient Greeks saw it and named it Andromeda, after a princess in their mythology. The Persian astronomer Abd al-Rahman al-Sufi catalogued it over 1,000 years ago, calling it the Little Cloud. Centuries later, it would become the subject of scientific curiosity, artistic wonder, and now technological revelation. But to understand what Andromeda truly represents, we need to grasp what it means to see something 2.5 million light years away. The light from Andromeda that hits your eyes tonight left its source before humans existed, before continents took their modern shape, before ice ages came and went. When that light began its journey, our distant ancestors were primitive hominins living in the heart of Africa. That light has been traveling uninterrupted for millions of years, crossing the silent, black void of intergalactic space. And after all that time, it arrives here, on a small blue planet circling an ordinary star, and we can capture it through a telescope lens. That is one of the greatest miracles of existence, that something so far, so vast, and so ancient can be seen by beings as small and fragile as us. The fact that we can perceive it, measure it, and even understand it, that is the triumph of human curiosity. The Andromeda Galaxy is roughly the same shape as our own, a grand spiral with graceful, rotating arms made of dust, gas, and billions of suns. It spins through space at over 200 kilometers per second, bound together by the mysterious force of gravity and the unseen substance known as dark matter. Each of its arms is like a glowing ribbon, tracing the paths of star systems orbiting its dense, bright core. That core is a mystery of its own, home to a supermassive black hole containing millions of times the mass of our Sun. Around that black hole, stars whirl in perfect, dangerous dance, their orbits driven by the immense pull of gravity. Andromeda's beauty hides a fierce history. Over billions of years, it has grown not by peace, but by conquest. Smaller galaxies have fallen into its gravity and been torn apart, their stars and dust absorbed into its arms. It is a cosmic predator as much as it is a marvel, consuming its neighbors to grow ever larger. The faint, ghostly streams of stars that surround it are remnants of galaxies long destroyed, their light now part of Andromeda's halo. Even now, that process continues. Around Andromeda are dozens of smaller satellite galaxies, tiny spheres of stars that orbit like moons. Some are already being pulled apart. They are the silent sacrifices that feed the growth of the giant. But perhaps the most astonishing part of the story is that Andromeda's journey isn't static, it's moving toward us. Every second, it speeds closer to the Milky Way at about 110 kilometers per second. That means every heartbeat you take, it's a little nearer. We are on a collision course with it, destined to meet in about 4 billion years. When that happens, the night sky will transform beyond imagination. The Andromeda Galaxy will swell larger and larger until it fills the heavens, its spiral arms bright enough to outshine the moon. Eventually, the two galaxies will merge into one, a single, massive elliptical galaxy astronomers have already named Milkomda. It sounds catastrophic, two galaxies colliding, but on the scale of individual stars, space is so vast that few, if any, will actually collide. The drama will unfold in silence, like two ghosts passing through one another, their shapes warping and twisting under gravity's pull. Stars will be flung into new orbits, new worlds will be born, and the night sky of our distant descendants will be illuminated by a sea of light, unlike anything we've ever seen. In this cosmic dance, Andromeda is not just a distant neighbor, it is our future. It is the mirror in which we can glimpse the destiny of our own galaxy. It represents both what we are and what we will become, To look at Andromeda, then, is to look at ourselves, not in a literal sense, but in a cosmic one. We see our reflection in its spiral arms, our own galaxy's twin, following the same laws of physics, born from the same cosmic dust that built our stars, our sun, and even us. And when you truly think about it, the most profound realization is this: every atom in your body, every carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen molecule was forged in stars like those that fill Andromeda's disk. You are in a very real sense made of the same material that shines across that galaxy. You are stardust, born from the same cosmic processes that shaped Andromeda billions of years ago. The connection isn't poetic, it's physical. The universe isn't out there, it's within us. The hidden colossus in the sky, the Andromeda Galaxy, is a reminder of how the grand and the small are woven together. It is a monument to time, to gravity, to light. It is proof that the universe doesn't just exist, it evolves, grows, and reaches across unimaginable distances to tell its story. And in a way, we are part of that story. We are the universe gaining consciousness of itself, using fragile eyes and curious minds to understand what lies beyond. If you could travel to Andromeda, even at the speed of light, it would take you 5 million years to arrive. Every human civilization that has ever existed would rise and fall countless times during that journey. Yet somehow, with our technology, our telescopes, and our relentless curiosity, we've already been there, not physically, but intellectually. We've mapped its stars, traced its rotation, and uncovered its history from across the gulf of time. That's what makes humanity extraordinary. We may be tiny, but our reach through knowledge is boundless. So next time you find yourself under a dark sky, look for that faint glow. Think about what it truly is: a colossal spiral of 1,000,000,000,000 suns, 250,000 light years wide, shining across millions of years just to reach you. Remember that your eyes are catching photons that began their journey before human memory, before civilization, before everything you know. And realize that in that moment you are touching eternity. The Andromeda Galaxy, the hidden colossus, is more than just a distant object. It's a bridge between what we can see and what we can imagine. It reminds us that even the faintest shimmer in the darkness can hold the weight of infinity. It's the universe's way of saying, look closer, you've only just begun to understand. And that perhaps is the greatest truth of all, that even when the universe seems silent and far away, it is speaking to us in every beam of light. Andromeda's glow is not just a vision of another world, it's a message from the cosmos itself, a whisper carried across time. You are part of something vast, something beautiful, something eternal. For centuries, humankind has looked toward the Andromeda Galaxy and seen only a faint smear of light, delicate, ghostly, and small. Through early telescopes, it appeared as a swirling mist, a patch of silver dust lost among the stars. Even when science revealed it was not a cloud but an entire galaxy, our understanding of its true scale remained modest. Astronomers once believed Andromeda was roughly the size of our own Milky Way, perhaps 100,000 light years wide. But as our instruments sharpened and our curiosity deepened, the cosmos revealed something that left even the most seasoned scientists in awe. The Andromeda Galaxy is not merely large, it is immense. Its true diameter stretches a staggering 250,000 light years from edge to edge, making it more than twice as wide as we once imagined. To grasp what that truly means, imagine a beam of light, the fastest thing known to humanity, traveling through the vacuum of space at nearly 300 kilometers per second. It would take that light 250,000 years just to travel from one end of Andromeda to the other. 250,000 years ago, our ancestors were carving tools out of stone and watching mammoths roam the earth. In the time it takes light to cross Andromeda, human civilization could rise, fall, and rise again countless times. That is the magnitude of what we are dealing with, a galactic structure so vast that it defies comprehension, so ancient that it carries the memory of cosmic history within every glowing star. When astronomers began probing deeper into Andromeda's structure with instruments like the Hubble Space Telescope and the Keck Observatory, they found something extraordinary: the visible disk. That bright, spiraling form we see in photographs is only the beginning. Beyond those luminous arms lies a vast, faint expanse of stars, dust, and gas stretching far into the black. As technology advanced, scientists could trace the outskirts of this galactic giant farther and farther until they reached the point where its influence seemed to fade into intergalactic space. That invisible boundary where Andromeda's gravity still holds sway revealed a diameter not of 100,000 or 150,000 light years, but 250,000 light years or more. Andromeda's true scale isn't defined by its brightness, but by its reach, by the gravitational pull that binds its stars, by the faint glow of its halo, and by the dark matter that gives it mass. This hidden expanse is made of tenuous gas, plasma, and scattered stars, the remnants of ancient collisions and cosmic storms. These are the outermost regions of the galaxy, nearly invisible to the human eye, but critical to its identity. They are where Andromeda's history is written, a story of growth through cosmic cannibalism, of devoured galaxies and gravitational conquest. For eons, Andromeda has been feeding on smaller galaxies that ventured too close, each one torn apart by tidal forces, its stars absorbed into Andromeda's outskirts, its dust repurposed to build new suns. Over billions of years, this process has expanded the galaxy's borders, stretching it into a giant twice as large as its younger self. What we now call Andromeda is not just one ancient spiral, it's the sum of hundreds of cosmic mergers, a monument sculpted by time and gravity. If the Andromeda Galaxy were visible in its true size to the naked eye, the sight would be overwhelming. It would dominate the heavens. On a dark night, its glowing arms would span 6 times the width of the full moon, a majestic spiral painted across the sky. Every evening would be a reminder that we live not in isolation, but in the company of titans, and yet we do not see it like that. To us, it remains a faint smudge. That simple truth tells us something profound about perception: how little we truly grasp until we look deeper, measure more precisely, and dare to challenge what we think we know. When astronomers realized Andromeda's actual diameter was around 250,000 light years, it changed how we viewed our cosmic neighborhood. It became clear that Andromeda isn't just another galaxy, it's the dominant power in our corner of the universe. It outweighs the Milky Way in mass, stretches farther, and likely contains more stars. Its sheer gravitational influence extends millions of light years in every direction. Even our galaxy, once thought to be the centerpiece of the local group, now seems like a younger sibling orbiting the edge of a larger gravitational family. The implications go far beyond size. Understanding Andromeda's true dimensions helps scientists piece together how galaxies evolve and how they interact. A galaxy's size is not just a matter of how many stars it holds. It reveals how it has grown, what it has consumed, and what it will become. When we say Andromeda is 250,000 light years wide, we are describing not just its physical structure, but its biography, its long and violent journey through cosmic history. The edges of Andromeda, those dim and distant regions, are like the pages of an old book written in starlight. They contain stellar streams, ribbons of stars left behind by smaller galaxies it has devoured, They contain old clusters that move in strange orbits, relics from other times and other systems. Each faint point of light on those edges carries evidence of a collision, a merger, or a burst of star formation triggered by gravitational upheaval. To map those regions is to read the epic saga of a galaxy that has lived for billions of years. Andromeda's colossal size also tells us something about dark matter, that mysterious, invisible substance that makes up most of the universe's mass. The galaxies, outer stars, move far faster than they should if gravity came only from the visible matter. That motion reveals an unseen halo of dark matter extending far beyond the visible disk, a structure hundreds of thousands of light years wide. Without that hidden mass, Andromeda could not exist in its current form. The same force that holds its stars together also binds its fate with ours. Think of it like this: if the visible galaxy, the stars, the dust, the gas were the tip of an iceberg, then dark matter is the vast, invisible body beneath the surface, shaping everything above. Andromeda's real size, therefore, isn't just 250 zeros, light years of visible glory. It's a sphere of influence that may stretch for over 1,000,000 light years, touching the Milky Way's own outer halo. The realization that these two enormous halos are already overlapping means the cosmic dance between our galaxies has already begun. The collision we imagine billions of years in the future has, in a quiet and invisible way, already started. To say that Andromeda is 250 light years wide is to say that we are living beside a true giant, a titan of the cosmos whose mass and reach shape our local universe. It means that the sky above us hides a structure so vast that, if placed next to our Milky Way, it would completely engulf it. And yet, despite that immensity, its light reaches us as a delicate whisper. That contradiction, that something so large can seem so small, captures the essence of the universe itself. The cosmos hides its enormity behind simplicity. It speaks in faint glows and silent motions, and it's up to us to listen. This discovery also deepens our sense of time. A galaxy this large did not form overnight. It is the product of billions of years of evolution, from the first clumps of hydrogen in the early universe to the spiraling grandeur we see now. Each of its stars is a time capsule, a record of an era long past. Some of its outermost stars are as old as the universe itself, forged in the first generations of stellar light after the Big Bang. Others are newborn, igniting just a few million years ago in dusty regions near its core. In Andromeda, past and present coexist across unimaginable distances. Its light is ancient, but its heart is alive. To comprehend Andromeda's real size, one must also understand the scale of the universe itself. Light years are not mere numbers. They are distances so vast that our language fails to describe them. The Earth orbits the Sun in 8 minutes of light travel time. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, lies 4 light years away, so far that our fastest spacecraft would take tens of thousands of years to reach it. And yet Andromeda spans 250 light years. Its light takes 625 times longer to cross itself than the Sun's light takes to reach Earth. Within its bounds lie not just billions, but trillions of worlds, each with its own potential skies, its own moons, its own possible stories. Now imagine standing on a world within Andromeda, orbiting a star on the very edge of one of its spiral arms. The night sky there would be magnificent. Its galactic core would blaze like a river of light, brighter and broader than anything we could ever see from Earth. Millions of suns would shimmer like grains of silver dust scattered across eternity. From that distant vantage point, perhaps intelligent life might look outward too, across the intergalactic gulf, and see our Milky Way, faint, small, and mysterious, and wonder who might be living there. That's the beauty of discovery. The realization that Andromeda is 250,000 light years across doesn't just make us understand space better, it connects us emotionally to the vastness that surrounds us. It invites humility. It reminds us that we are part of something larger than comprehension, yet still capable of uncovering its secrets. For all our fragility, we have the tools and the curiosity to measure a galaxy millions of light years away, to map its stars, to weigh its mass, to trace its edges in the darkness. That ability is nothing short of miraculous. Every time humanity has remeasured Andromeda, the number has grown from tens of thousands of light years to hundreds of thousands. That growth is more than just data, it's a symbol of our expanding vision. It shows that knowledge itself is like the universe, forever unfolding, forever revealing new depths. What was once invisible becomes visible, what was once assumed becomes redefined, and just as Andromeda's edges extend beyond what we can see, so too does the frontier of human understanding. The Andromeda Galaxy's true size is a testament to both the grandeur of the cosmos and the power of human discovery. It stands as a reminder that our universe is not static, it is alive, dynamic, and full of surprises. Every revelation pulls the curtain back a little more, revealing just how small our previous imaginations were. So the next time you gaze into the night and spot that faint smudge in the constellation of Andromeda, remember what it truly is. Not a cloud, not a single star, but an ocean of suns, a trillion points of light stretched across 250,000 light years of space. A realm so vast that it humbles every measure of human scale, yet close enough that its light has reached us, carrying a message older than our species. That faint blur you see is a frontier, a reminder that we have barely begun to grasp the universe's enormity. It tells us that even the smallest patch of sky may hide wonders beyond imagination. And most of all, it whispers something eternal, that in the face of immensity, the act of looking up, of wondering, is what makes us truly infinite. When we look at a galaxy like Andromeda, our eyes and even our telescopes are drawn to the obvious, the shining core, the luminous spiral arms, the magnificent swirl of starlight. It's natural to think that what we see is what truly exists, but the universe, as always, hides its greatest wonders behind a veil. For decades, astronomers believed that Andromeda's size and shape were defined by the visible stars that formed its glowing disk. We saw its spiraling arms filled with clusters of suns, and we thought that was the galaxy, all of it. But we were wrong. Beneath that brilliance, beyond the edges of visible light, lies something vast, invisible, and almost unimaginable, a halo so large that it challenges our understanding of what a galaxy even is. The halo of Andromeda is not made of solid matter or shining stars. It is made of whispers of thin, ionized gas and plasma, of stray atoms scattered across millions of light years. It does not glow with the light of creation like the galactic core does, yet it contains clues about the galaxy's history, its power, and its future. For decades, this enormous structure was hidden in plain sight, completely invisible to human eyes. Only in recent years, with the help of advanced space telescopes like Hubble and powerful observatories like Keck, did we finally begin to see its outline not in light, but in shadows, in subtle fingerprints it leaves on the light that passes through it. To detect something so faint, scientists had to think differently. They could not simply take a picture of the halo, it was too diffuse, too transparent. Instead, they studied the light from distant quasars, brilliant beacons of radiation shining from galaxies billions of light years away. As this light traveled toward Earth, it passed through Andromeda's invisible halo. The atoms and ions in that halo absorbed certain wavelengths of light, leaving telltale imprints, dark lines in the spectrum that revealed the presence of gas. By carefully measuring these imprints, astronomers could map out the structure of the halo, its size, its density, and even its composition. What they discovered was breathtaking. Andromeda's halo extends over 3 million light years from its core, nearly half the distance to our own Milky Way galaxy. That means if you could see it, its faint outer edge would reach far beyond any visible star or spiral arm, enveloping the galaxy in a ghostly sphere of energy and matter so enormous it could contain dozens of smaller galaxies within its boundaries. In every sense, this halo is the galaxy's true body, its hidden self, the invisible architecture holding together the glittering spiral we see through our telescopes. This discovery changed everything we thought we knew about Andromeda. It meant that our closest galactic neighbor was far more massive and influential than we had imagined. The visible part of the galaxy, the bright disk, is like the glowing heart of an immense, transparent organism whose outer layers spread silently into intergalactic space. The halo is not just an empty shell, it is alive with activity. It contains traces of elements forged in supernova explosions, the remnants of long, dead stars that once burned in Andromeda's arms. It is enriched with carbon, oxygen, and iron, the very ingredients of planets and life itself. Floating there, mixed in with thin gas, are the ashes of cosmic history, drifting across millions of light years. It's humbling to realize that the Andromeda Galaxy is surrounded by an atmosphere so large that our entire Milky Way could fit inside it. And this halo is not static. It moves, breathes, and interacts with its surroundings. Solar winds from stars, shock waves from dying suns, and magnetic fields twist and ripple through it like currents in a cosmic ocean. Every part of it tells a story about what has happened in the galaxy's past. One of the most remarkable revelations was that the halo itself is not uniform. It's structured, a layered, dynamic sphere filled with turbulent motion. In some regions, it glows faintly in ultraviolet light, where energetic gas is still heated by supernova remnants. In others, it's calm, cool, and dark, containing ancient material that has drifted there for billions of years. The inner part of the halo, astronomers found, is much more complex than they expected. It's filled with dense clouds of ionized gas, each one hundreds of thousands of light years across, moving in unpredictable ways, as if the entire halo were alive. But perhaps the most astonishing realization came when astronomers looked at how far this halo reaches, because when they measured it, they realized something extraordinary. Andromeda's halo overlaps with that of our Milky Way. The two great galaxies of our local group, separated by 5 million light years, are already touching not with their stars or spiral arms, but with their invisible atmospheres. The edges of their halos mingle and mix in the intergalactic dark, forming a silent connection between two galactic giants. In a very real sense, our galaxies have already begun to merge. This invisible bridge between Andromeda and the Milky Way changes how we view our place in the cosmos. It means that the boundary between our galaxy and theirs is no longer clear. It means that right now, the space between galaxies is not empty but filled with a subtle, flowing exchange of matter and energy. Somewhere in that dark gulf, particles that once belonged to Andromeda may already be drifting through the outer halo of the Milky Way, and vice versa. We are, quite literally, breathing the same cosmic air. The discovery of Andromeda's vast halo also helped explain some of the greatest mysteries in modern astronomy, particularly the question of galactic evolution. For a long time, scientists wondered how galaxies recycle material, how they continue forming stars even after billions of years. The halo may be the answer. It acts like a reservoir, storing gas ejected by supernova and stellar winds, and then slowly feeding it back into the galaxy's disk over time. It is both a memory and a lifeline, a system that preserves the raw ingredients of creation. Without this halo, Andromeda's star formation might have ceased long ago. In a poetic way, the halo is like the galaxy's soul, invisible yet essential. It contains the energy of its past and the promise of its future. Every atom in that halo has likely been part of something before, a star, a planet, a cloud of dust. And every one of those atoms will one day fall back toward the galactic core, reborn as part of new suns. It is the endless cycle of cosmic reincarnation, playing out on a scale beyond human comprehension. But the halo does more than connect Andromeda to its own history. It connects it to us. When we say that Andromeda's halo touches the Milky Ways, we are saying that the two largest galaxies in our region of space are already one system, intertwined by gravity and time. It's as though the universe is preparing them for their eventual union, the great collision that will happen billions of years from now. And this connection isn't just a poetic metaphor, it's real, measurable, physical. Particles, atoms, and plasma drift between the two galaxies as we speak. The story of the Milky Way and Andromeda is already one continuous narrative, two great characters in a single cosmic epic. When we imagine the Andromeda Galaxy today, we must not think only of the shining spiral, the arms, the stars, the core. We must imagine the invisible, the titanic spherical expanse that surrounds it, stretching farther than any telescope can see. That is the true Andromeda, a structure so vast it could envelop dozens of galaxies the size of our own. To understand it is to understand how galaxies live, breathe, and evolve. The halo is also a powerful reminder that reality is often hidden. We live in a universe where most of what exists cannot be seen directly. Ordinary matter, the kind that makes up stars, planets, and people, accounts for less than 5% of the cosmos. The rest is invisible, dark matter, dark energy, unseen forces that shape everything we know. Andromeda's halo, though faint, stands as a visible echo of that truth, a demonstration that the universe hides its greatest structures behind a curtain of invisibility, waiting for us to discover them through persistence and imagination. For the astronomers who mapped Andromeda's halo, this discovery was more than just date. It was a revelation. Imagine devoting your life to studying the stars, and then realizing that what you thought was the galaxy's boundary was only its inner core. Imagine finding out that everything you've ever seen through a telescope represents less than half the truth. That's the scale of what this discovery meant. The halo transformed Andromeda from a familiar neighbor into a cosmic empire. In a way, this mirrors the human experience. We often define things by what we can see, by what's visible, tangible, measurable. But just as Andromeda's true self is hidden beyond sight, so too is much of reality, and perhaps much of ourselves. The discovery of the halo is a cosmic metaphor for introspection, for the realization that the visible surface is only a small part of the whole. What we see is only the beginning. What matters most often lies in the unseen depths, and there's something deeply moving about that. Because even though we can't see Andromeda's halo with our eyes, we can feel its presence through the science that revealed it. We can imagine that vast, ghostly sphere enveloping the galaxy, stretching out toward us like an invisible sea. Somewhere in that sea, the boundary between us and them is blurred. The night sky, once thought to be an empty void between galaxies, is actually a field of connection. If you could somehow fly through Andromeda's halo, you would find yourself in a realm both haunting and beautiful, an ocean of faintly glowing gas, illuminated occasionally by the flicker of distant quasars. It would not look like the bright, crowded interiors of galaxies, but like a great emptiness filled with the soft pulse of energy. You would be surrounded by the ghosts of stars long gone, by atoms that once belonged to other galaxies, by the silent hum of the universe itself. And it looks like progress, not just numbers and measurements, but imagination. It invites us to see the invisible, to picture the grandeur that our eyes alone cannot perceive. It teaches us that even in the darkness there is structure, meaning, and connection. The Andromeda Galaxy's halo is a masterpiece of cosmic architecture, vast, silent, and magnificent. It is the invisible thread binding galaxies together, the unseen ocean through which light must travel before it reaches us. And though it may not shine with brilliance, it defines everything around it. Without it, Andromeda would not be what it is. Without it, we might never have understood how deeply the universe is intertwined. So, when you look up at the night sky and see that faint blur that we call Andromeda, remember, what you are seeing is only the surface. Beyond that glow lies an empire of light, surrounded by an ocean of the invisible. And within that ocean, two galaxies, ours and theirs, are already touching, already beginning the dance that will one day reshape the heavens. In that knowledge lies both humility and wonder. Because what we have truly discovered is not just the halo of a galaxy, but the truth that the universe is far larger, richer, and more connected than our eyes could ever tell us. And that, perhaps, is the most beautiful revelation of all. There is a quiet truth hidden in the dark between galaxies, a truth that changes the way we understand not only Andromeda, but our own existence in the vast cosmic ocean. For so long, humanity has looked up at the night sky and seen separation. We believed the galaxies were islands of light floating alone in the darkness, each one isolated by millions of light, years of emptiness. The Milky Way was ours, Andromeda was theirs, two giants staring at each other across the void, but science has a way of revealing what our eyes cannot. It shows us that even across unimaginable distances, there are connections, faint, invisible threads that link worlds, stars, and galaxies together. And today, we know that the Milky Way and Andromeda are not truly separate anymore. Their great halos, vast spheres of gas, dark matter, and plasma, have already begun to overlap, merging silently in the dark. It is not a future event, it is happening now. The discovery that our galaxies are touching was not made with photographs or bright images, but through subtle measurements of how light behaves as it passes through the invisible halos of both galaxies. Astronomers found that the outer reaches of Andromeda's halo stretch so far, over 1 million light years, that they now intersect with the farthest boundaries of our own galactic halo. In that invisible region, particles, radiation, and magnetic fields from both galaxies mingle. There, in that immense, silent gulf, two galaxies are already in contact, not through collision, but through connection. Imagine that for a moment, the Milky Way, our home galaxy, is 100,000 light years across. Andromeda, even larger, spans 250,000 light years. Between their bright disks lies 5 million light years of space, yet their halos reach so far that they overlap by hundreds of thousands of light years. This means that somewhere out there, between the constellations of Cassiopeia and Pegasus, the gases of one galaxy are mixing with the gases of another. Somewhere in that invisible borderland, the gravitational whispers of two galactic empires are entwined. It is not a collision of destruction, but a slow, graceful dance that began long before humanity existed. To understand what that means, we must imagine the halos themselves not as solid walls, but as enormous, diffuse atmospheres surrounding each galaxy. Each halo is filled with hot, ionized gas, magnetic fields, and mysterious dark matter that extends far beyond the visible stars. They are like the lungs of a galaxy, breathing energy in and out, connecting everything within them. When two halos overlap, they create a region where their gases interact, where particles from one galaxy can travel into the other. It's a cosmic handshake, a slow merging of identities. This discovery means that our Milky Way and Andromeda have already begun their union, not the dramatic merger that will come billions of years from now, but a quiet prelude, an invisible merging of atmospheres that has already started. In about 4 billion years, the two galaxies will collide in a spectacular event that will reshape the night sky forever. But that final act is only the climax of a story that's been unfolding for eons. The first chapter has already begun right now, as the two halos intertwine like two oceans meeting at their edges. What's astonishing is that we can already feel the gravitational pull of Andromeda here in the Milky Way. Though it's 5 million light years away, its mass, over 1 trillion suns, exerts a measurable tug on our galaxy. Every single star, every cluster, even the dark matter that holds us together, is being slowly drawn toward Andromeda's center. It is a slow inevitability written into the fabric of space itself. Gravity, patient and eternal, is bringing us together. Future collision is not a random event, it is destiny. It's a cosmic love story written across time. When astronomers model this collision, they see a future sky unlike anything we can imagine. About 4 billion years from now, Andromeda will no longer be a faint blur. It will fill the heavens, a swirling, luminous spiral so vast it will dominate the night. Over millions of years, its spiral arms will stretch across the horizon, glowing brighter and brighter until they merge with ours. Stars from both galaxies will weave together, their orbits reshaped by gravity's embrace. The two galactic cores will spiral toward each other, merging eventually into one, a new massive elliptical galaxy that astronomers have already named Milkomda. The union of Milky Way and Andromeda. But what's truly moving is that the process has already begun in silence. No human eye can see it, no telescope can photograph the invisible border where it's happening, yet we know it's there. We are living in the first stage of this cosmic merging, surrounded by the invisible breath of another galaxy. That thought alone changes how we see our place in the universe. It means that we are no longer just residents of the Milky Way. We are citizens of an evolving system, part of a grander cosmic structure that's slowly taking shape. The space between galaxies is not empty. It's filled with faint gases, drifting atoms, cosmic rays, and the soft hum of background radiation. In the overlapping halos of Andromeda and the Milky Way, this medium becomes denser, more energetic, and more complex. It is here that future stars may one day form, born from material that once belonged to two different galaxies. The very atoms in our own bodies could one day be recycled into stars that shine in the unified Milkomda Galaxy. Think about that, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, these elements will one day belong not to one galaxy, but to both. Our matter will become part of a new creation. The idea that two galaxies are already touching in this quiet way is profoundly humbling. It reminds us that cosmic evolution is not defined by violence alone, but also by gentleness. We often imagine galactic collisions as catastrophic, stars smashing into each other, worlds destroyed. But that's not how it happens. The vast distances between stars mean that when galaxies collide, almost no stars actually crash together. Instead, their gravity reshapes their paths, weaving them into new patterns. The collision is not a destruction, but a transformation. The night skies of future worlds will blaze with new beauty. There's also a poetic symbolism to the halo's overlap. It suggests that even in the universe's coldest, darkest regions, connection exists. Two galaxies that seemed separate for eternity are already united by something unseen. Their invisible halos are like two spirits recognizing each other in the void, reaching out long before their physical bodies meet. It's a reminder that unity often begins long before it's visible. In a way, the story of Andromeda and the Milky Way mirrors our own story as human beings. separate lives, separate identities, yet deeply interconnected beneath the surface. Scientists studying the halo's interaction have discovered fascinating details about how they mix. The gas within them is not still, it flows, twists, and swirls in complex currents. These interactions can create magnetic turbulence, shock waves, and streams of charged particles that ripple through space like cosmic tides. This mixing region may even trigger the birth of new star systems, as pressure differences cause gas to compress and ignite. In this way, the merging halos may already be creating the seeds of future galaxies. And what's even more awe-inspiring is that the halos are infused with the remnants of ancient stars, elements forged in supernova billions of years ago. The iron in those particles once belonged to suns that lived and died before Earth even existed. Now those atoms are drifting in the space between galaxies, blending together. The universe recycles everything, even galaxies themselves. There is no true separation, only transformation. When Andromeda and the Milky Way finally merge, Earth as we know it will likely no longer exist. The sun will have evolved into a red giant by then, and the surface of our planet will be uninhabitable. But the atoms that once made up Earth, the dust that once formed our oceans and mountains, will still be here, drawn into the new galaxy that will emerge from this union. The universe does not forget. Every story, every world, every star becomes part of a larger whole. There's a certain beauty in knowing that even as our civilization fades, the universe continues to create. Our galaxy, which has nurtured life and consciousness, will one day merge with its nearest neighbor to form something grander, a new structure of light and gravity that will shine for trillions of years. The dance of the galaxies will go on long after we are gone, but perhaps, in some small way, our awareness of it, our ability to see it and understand it, is the universe recognizing itself. Andromeda and the Milky Way are like two enormous time travelers approaching each other through eternity. Their destinies are intertwined by gravity, that most patient of cosmic forces. From the moment they were born in the early universe, their paths were set on a collision course. For billions of years, they have drifted closer, pulled by invisible attraction, and now, as their halos touch, we are witnessing the first whisper of that ancient promise being fulfilled. When you think about it, this cosmic relationship has lessons for us here on Earth. It reminds us that connection is fundamental to existence. Just as galaxies reach for one another through the darkness, so too do we reach for understanding, unity, and belonging. The same gravity that pulls stars together also pulls human hearts toward connection. It is the same law written in different languages, physics and emotion, matter and meaning. The fact that we can even comprehend this phenomenon is itself miraculous. Tiny beings living on a small blue planet, orbiting an ordinary star, have discovered that their galaxy is already merging with another, that their place in the cosmos is not static, but part of a dynamic story billions of years in the making. We are not just observers of this dance. We are participants, made of the same atoms that move through these galactic tides. Our existence is literally tied to this merging process. If you could stand outside both galaxies and watch them from afar, you would see two majestic spirals slowly drifting toward each other across the cosmic sea. Their halos would blend first, faint and ghostly, then their disks would approach, their shapes distorting under mutual gravity. Over eons, their arms would stretch and twist like ribbons of light. Finally, they would merge, forming a new, radiant elliptical galaxy shining brighter than either one before. From chaos would emerge creation, from collision, beauty. Right now, though, the process is invisible, a silent union unfolding in the darkness between stars. And that is what makes it so profoundly moving, because it reminds us that the universe doesn't need spectacle to create greatness. Sometimes the most extraordinary things happen quietly, unseen, but deeply meaningful. The merging halos of Andromeda and the Milky Way are a cosmic metaphor for the unseen forces that shape everything: patience, gravity, time, connection. So when you look up at the night sky tonight, and you see that faint, misty patch we call Andromeda, know this: it is not just a distant galaxy. It is our future. It is already part of us. The atoms from its halo are already mingling with the outskirts of our own. The story of both galaxies has already begun to merge into one. We are witnessing the opening act of one of the greatest transformations in the history of the cosmos. And in that realization lies something profoundly human: the understanding that nothing in the universe is truly alone. Not galaxies, not stars, not even us. Across the immensity of space, everything is connected by invisible forces, moving together toward a shared destiny. The Milky Way and Andromeda are proof that separation is an illusion, that even across millions of light years, the universe finds a way to unite. In their slow, graceful dance through the cosmos, we find the reflection of our own story, a reminder that everything, no matter how far apart, is part of something greater. And as those two galaxies continue their long journey toward one another, the space between them shimmering with shared light, we are left with one humbling truth: the universe is not built on isolation, it is built on connection, endless, silent, and eternal. Every so often, the universe humbles us. It does it not with noise or destruction, but with silence, with vastness, with a scale so immense it strips away everything we thought we knew. The revelation of Andromeda's true size is one of those moments, a quiet earthquake in our understanding of reality. For centuries, humanity believed we could measure the universe, define it, chart it, and perhaps even understand it. But then, like a whisper in the dark, the cosmos reminds us how small our knowledge really is. Andromeda, the glowing spiral we thought we knew, turned out to be something far greater, a structure stretching 250 light years across, enveloped by an invisible halo that reaches more than a million light years into space. Its true self was hidden all along, waiting for us to look deeper. It is one thing to learn facts about the universe. It is another to feel them. When scientists say that Andromeda is 250 light years wide, they are not just describing distance, they are describing time itself. Light takes 250 years to cross from one side to the other. That means the light from its farthest stars began its journey long before human civilization existed, before our species even dreamed of fire. And when we see Andromeda tonight, we are not seeing it as it is now, but as it was 5 million years ago, when early humans were just beginning to walk upright. Every flicker of that galactic light is a message from the past, traveling through cosmic darkness to reach our eyes. The scale of it bends the mind. To truly grasp this is to confront our own insignificance, but also our greatness. Because here we are, on a tiny blue planet orbiting an ordinary star, able to measure, imagine, and comprehend something so vast that it defies intuition. In the face of such immensity, humility and wonder become the same thing. The universe doesn't shrink us, it reveals the miracle that we can even understand it. For generations, Andromeda was just a patch of light in the sky, faint and blurred. To the naked eye, it looks small, maybe no bigger than the moon. But that is a trick of distance. If our eyes could see ultraviolet light, if they could detect the invisible halo, Andromeda would stretch across the sky with a diameter 6 times greater than the moon's. It would dominate the heavens, a soft, shimmering disk that reminds us that beauty often hides in the unseen. What we mistake for emptiness is, in truth, filled with grandeur beyond measure. This discovery that Andromeda's true body extends so far forces us to rethink not only the galaxy itself, but our place within the universe. It teaches us that our senses, though powerful, are limited. We live in a reality where most of what exists cannot be seen. 95% of the universe is made of dark matter and dark energy, invisible, mysterious, yet fundamental. The visible world, the one we touch and see, is only a thin layer on top of a much deeper truth. The revelation of Andromeda's vast halo is like lifting a veil from our eyes. It's a reminder that our universe is always bigger, stranger, and more connected than we think, but there's something even more profound hidden in this discovery. When astronomers realized the true size of Andromeda, they didn't just learn about a distant galaxy, they learned something about perception itself. Because for all of history, we've seen Andromeda as a distant, separate thing, yet now we know its invisible halo already touches ours. The boundaries between us and them, between the Milky Way and Andromeda, have blurred. The lesson is cosmic but also human. The separations we perceive between galaxies, between nations, between people, are often illusions. We are more connected than we realize, bound by invisible forces, whether gravitational or emotional. In a sense, the universe has always been trying to teach us perspective. We once thought Earth was the center of creation, then we learned it orbits the sun. We thought our sun was special, then we learned it's one among billions. We thought our galaxy was the whole universe, then we discovered there are trillions more. And now even the galaxies themselves, these immense, self-contained structures, are shown to be intertwined. Each revelation pushes us further from the center and closer to understanding that there is no center. The universe does not revolve around us, and yet, in a strange way, it exists for us to discover. That realization changes not just how we see the cosmos, but how we see ourselves. When we gaze at Andromeda, we are not just looking outward, we are looking inward. We are staring at a mirror made of stars. That galaxy, with its countless suns and worlds, obeys the same laws of physics that shape us. The same atoms that formed its stars also form our bones and blood. The same gravity that binds its spiral arms binds our feet to the earth. The connection is absolute. The distance is vast, but the essence is shared. We are made of the same cosmic fabric. That's why discoveries like this one touch something deeper than science. They awaken a kind of spiritual awe, not tied to any belief system, but to the simple recognition that we are part of something infinite. The universe is not a cold, meaningless void. It is a living story, and we are one of its chapters. The light from Andromeda traveling across time to meet our eyes is a kind of conversation, the cosmos speaking, and humanity finally listening. And when we hear that Andromeda's true size is 250,000 light years, we realize that even our concept of size is a human attempt to describe something beyond comprehension. What does it even mean for something to be 250,000 light years across? It's a distance so great that words collapse under its weight. Yet the human mind can imagine it. That ability, imagination, is what makes us extraordinary. We can stand beneath a dark sky, point to a tiny blur, and understand that it contains a trillion stars. That act of comprehension is one of the purest forms of wonder that exists. Perspective is not just about what we see, but how we interpret it. For centuries, humans saw the night sky as a ceiling of lights, beautiful but unreachable. Now we know those lights are suns, many with planets of their own. Some of those worlds may host life. Some may even look back at us, seeing the Milky Way as a faint smudge in their own skies. The moment we realized the true size of Andromeda, we also realized how many potential worlds it contains, not just stars, but solar systems, nebulae, perhaps even civilizations, each with its own stories, dreams, and destinies. It forces us to ask questions that reach beyond science. Are we alone? Or are we one voice in a vast cosmic chorus we have only just begun to hear? Every time we discover something larger than we imagined, we have a choice. We can feel smaller, or we can feel more connected. The truth is, both are correct. We are small, smaller than a grain of dust compared to Andromeda's expanse. Yet, we are also vast in our capacity to understand, to feel, to dream. The universe is inside us as much as we are inside it. Our awareness, our curiosity, is the universe becoming self-aware. The light from Andromeda may have taken millions of years to reach us, but it completes its journey in our consciousness when we see it, when we understand it, when we let it move us. This shift in perspective does more than change our science. It changes our spirit. It humbles us, but it also lifts us. It tells us that the limits of our perception are not the limits of reality. The Andromeda Galaxy is a silent testament to the fact that greatness often exists unseen, waiting for the moment we learn how to look. That lesson applies to more than astronomy, it applies to life. How often do we judge something or someone only by what we can see? How often do we forget that every person, every life, every world has invisible depths, histories, and halos of their own? When we understand that, the universe stops feeling like an empty place, it becomes intimate. The same way Andromeda's hidden halo extends into ours, so too do our actions, our words, and our love extend beyond what's visible. Every kindness, every idea, every discovery ripples outward like light across the darkness, touching others in ways we may never see. There's also something profoundly human about the way we uncover these truths. The story of Andromeda's true size is not just a scientific achievement, it's a story of patience, imagination, and courage. For years, astronomers stared into the void, measuring light, analyzing data, refusing to believe that what they saw was all there was. That persistence, that refusal to accept the obvious, is the essence of human progress. We look beyond the visible. We search for meaning in the unseen. We reach for understanding not because we must, but because it's who we are. Andromeda's true scale is a mirror to our own potential. Just as the galaxy is larger than we imagined, so too is our capacity for discovery, empathy, and wonder. The universe is a reflection of our consciousness, expanding as we do. The more we learn, the more we realize how much remains hidden. And that is not discouraging, it's beautiful, because it means there will always be more to explore, more to understand, more to dream about. Standing beneath the night sky, it's easy to feel small, but smallness is not insignificance. The same laws of physics that govern the birth of stars govern the beating of your heart. The same gravity that binds galaxies together binds us to one another. The same elements forged in the hearts of ancient suns now flow through your veins. You are literally made of stardust, a product of the same forces that shaped Andromeda itself. When you realize that, humility and pride merge into one emotion law. The revelation of Andromeda's true size reminds us that the universe is not static, it's alive, growing, evolving. And we are part of that evolution. Every time we open our eyes to the sky, every time we question, wonder, or imagine, we participate in the unfolding story of the cosmos. Our awareness adds something to it, a spark of meaning in the infinite. Perhaps the greatest gift of this discovery is not what it tells us about Andromeda, but what it tells us about ourselves. It reminds us that perspective is everything. We can look at the night sky and see cold distance, or we can see connection, beauty, and the profound privilege of existence. We can see the emptiness, or we can see the light. So the next time you look up and find Andromeda, faint and distant, remember, what you are seeing is not just another galaxy. You are seeing a reflection of humanity's courage to know, to explore, to dream beyond its limits. You are witnessing light that has traveled across millions of years to meet you, a journey that began long before you were born and will continue long after you are gone. You are part of that journey now. And in that moment, standing beneath the infinite, you realize that the real shift in perspective isn't about how small we are. It's about how extraordinary it is that, against all odds, we are here to witness it. The Andromeda Galaxy is vast beyond comprehension, but so is the human spirit that dares to measure it. That is the true miracle, that the universe has created something within itself capable of seeing its own immensity and whispering back, "I understand." In the grand theater of the cosmos, humanity stands as a whisper, a fleeting spark within an ocean of eternity. And yet it is this whisper that dares to ask, how vast is the universe? What lies beyond that faint smudge of light called the Andromeda Galaxy? What does it mean that something 250,000 light years wide hangs silently above our skies, invisible to most, yet close enough to touch the imagination of anyone who looks up and wonders? The revelation of Andromeda's true size doesn't just speak to the physical immensity of space, it speaks to the philosophical depths of what it means to be human. It is a mirror held up by the stars, showing us both our smallness and our brilliance, the audacity of beings so tiny daring to measure infinity. When astronomers looked deeper into Andromeda and discovered its true size, that it extends 250,000 light years across with a halo stretching millions of light years beyond, they didn't just expand our maps of the sky, they expanded the human spirit. This knowledge doesn't simply belong to scientists or telescopes. It belongs to every person who's ever looked at the stars and felt something awaken inside. Because, in that moment, as light from Andromeda travels across 2.5 million years of time to reach our eyes, we are connected not by distance, but by wonder. Our species has existed for only a blink in cosmic history. Civilizations rise and fall in what amounts to the heartbeat of a galaxy. And yet, within this brief existence, humanity has built tools that can pierce the ancient darkness, measure invisible halos of gas, and trace the histories of galaxies billions of years old. It's easy to feel insignificant under such immensity, but the truth is, our capacity to understand that immensity gives us significance beyond measure. The Andromeda Galaxy might dwarf us physically, but in our ability to comprehend it, we bridge the gap between atoms and eternity. Imagine standing outside on a quiet night, far from city lights, the air is still, the stars sharp. Somewhere in the direction of the constellation Andromeda, there is a faint, blurry glow. To the unaided eye, it's barely visible, a smudge of light smaller than your fingernail held at arm's length. But that smudge, that ghostly flicker, is home to over 1 trillion stars, each with its own solar systems, its own stories. Perhaps there are beings there, looking up at their night sky, seeing a faint light we call the Milky Way, wondering if someone else is out there, wondering just as we do. It's almost poetic, 2 galaxies separated by millions of light years, already reaching toward each other with invisible hands of gas and gravity. They are destined to collide, to merge, to become one. In 4 billion years, when Andromeda and the Milky Way finally meet, there will be no more lonely smudges across the sky. There will be one grand galaxy, a fusion of countless stars, worlds, and cosmic histories. Humanity, or whatever life evolves by then, might witness the dance of galaxies, a ballet that began long before our kind even knew how to light a fire. This perspective is humbling, but also empowering. It reminds us that while we are small, we are also a part of something magnificent. The same atoms that make up our bodies were forged in the hearts of ancient stars, stars that may have burned in galaxies like Andromeda long before our own Milky Way was even born. We are, in a very literal sense, made of the universe. We are stardust contemplating the stars, and that realization changes how we see ourselves. When you grasp the scale of Andromeda, a galaxy so vast that light takes 250 zeros, 00 years to cross it, suddenly the things that divide us on Earth seem trivial. Borders, conflicts, egos, politics, all of them dissolve against the backdrop of that infinite sky. How can we cling to smallness when the cosmos invites us to think big, to live with wonder, to embrace humility? Andromeda's enormity doesn't belittle us, it dignifies us, because within that infinite scale, we found the courage to seek understanding. We built telescopes to chase ancient light. We sent spacecraft beyond our planet to explore the unknown. We trained our minds to measure time not in years, but in light, years. Every discovery we make in the stars isn't just about astronomy, it's about awakening. It's about reminding ourselves that we are explorers by nature, dreamers by design, and participants in a story written across galaxies. There's also something profoundly spiritual about knowing that the light we see from Andromeda left its galaxy before humans even existed. That when we look at it, we are witnessing ancient history still traveling through the void, a cosmic echo whispering from the dawn of time. And in that whisper, we find a strange comfort. It tells us that even though our lives are short, our awareness allows us to touch eternity. We may not live long enough to see the future collision of galaxies, but we live in the age of comprehension, the moment when we can finally understand what's out there. Think of the journey that light took to reach you 2.5 million years ago, as early human ancestors roamed the African savannas, that light left Andromeda. It crossed the emptiness of intergalactic space, an ocean so vast that entire galaxies drift within it like islands. And yet that light found its way to Earth, struck your eyes, and ignited thought. You, a being made of atoms born in dying stars, became aware of another galaxy beyond your own. That single moment of recognition connects you to the cosmos in a way no scale or distance can diminish. So when we talk about the real size of Andromeda 250 zeros, 00 light years across, we're not just speaking in numbers, we're speaking in metaphors of existence. That measurement is a reminder of the scale of creation and the limits of our perception. It challenges us to look beyond what's visible, to seek meaning in the unseen. Just as Andromeda's halo is invisible to the naked eye but defines its true size, so too are the invisible aspects of our humanity, imagination, curiosity, courage, what define our true greatness. Science and spirituality meet in that realization. The telescope and the soul look in the same direction, upward. One measures distance, the other measures wonder, and when they meet, knowledge becomes reverence, understanding becomes awe. The 250 light year-wide Andromeda isn't just an object of study, it's a temple of scale, a cathedral of time and light. And as we stand beneath that vast sky, we must remember that awareness itself is rare. Out of all the galaxies, stars, and planets, billions upon billions of them, consciousness, as far as we know, has bloomed here on a small blue dot orbiting an ordinary star. That awareness gives meaning to everything else. Without us, the universe would still exist, but it would be silent, unobserved, unappreciated. Through us, the universe becomes self-aware. Through our eyes, it sees itself. Through our minds, it wonders. Through our discoveries, it grows conscious of its own beauty. This is why Andromeda's revelation matters so deeply. Not just because it's larger than we thought, but because it shows that there's always more, more to see, more to know, more to become. It tells us that the limits we imagine are temporary, that the horizon always expands as long as we keep looking. And someday, perhaps millions of years from now, our descendants, or whatever life inherits the Earth, might look up at a new sky. They won't see Andromeda as a faint blur anymore. They will see it spread across the heavens, a vast river of stars merging with our own. The night will glow brighter, the constellations will change, and the story of two galaxies will become one. That future sky will be a living reminder that the universe is never still. It is a story of eternal transformation. Until then, we stand here, in this fragile moment of awareness, gazing across time and distance at a galactic neighbor whose light speaks to us from the past. We stand between two infinities, the vastness above and the briefness of our lives, and in that space, we find meaning. The Andromeda Galaxy 250,000 light years wide is not just a measure of cosmic distance. It is a symbol of the human condition, small yet aware, fleeting yet eternal through curiosity. It is proof that the universe's greatest miracle is not its size, but our ability to comprehend it. And as long as we keep looking up, asking questions, and daring to know, we will never truly be small. Because within our minds lies something that even galaxies cannot contain the power to wonder. So the next time you look at that dim patch of light in the sky, remember, you are not just an observer of the universe, you are its consciousness. That tiny spark of thought, connecting you to Andromeda, to light that left before history began, is what makes you infinite. For in understanding the universe, you have already become part of it, forever woven into its grand and boundless story.